Alright, welcome to my political life video blog. And you know what that means? It's time for, you guessed it, Defending the Speech. It's our Wednesday, it's gotta be My Political Life Wednesday series. Talks about free speech versus hate speech. You know, I'm sorry, I got myself mixed up. Oh! Well, can't beat them, join them. Anyways, remember I just said last Sunday on my political life video blog about, oh boy, Michelle Wolf. She is just, you know what, she's a stupid, idiotic buffoon. And I can't believe my eyes and ears about this one. But as I said on my show, Primetime News, last Monday night, and so is my radio show as well on the Blaze Radio Network. Well, guess what? Later on tonight, I am gonna do something very, very harsh with Michelle Wolf. But she is a stupid liberal comedian trying to trash Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the face. Well, guess what? I will do this. I will trash Sarah Huckabee. No, that's okay. I will trash, that's right, Michelle Wolf in the face of the earth. And see how's this one's gonna be huge. Now, here's my worst nightmare. According to the White House Correspondents Association says that we share the belief held by our country's founders and enshrined in the First Amendment that an independent news media is vital to the health of the republic. You see what I told you?
Correspondents Association extols its commitment to the.
I told you. Here's the thing. Does the left really care? The leftist and the leftist and the liberals does really care about the First Amendment? No, they don't even care. I talked to last Monday. You guessed it, Jeffrey Lord, Lee Habib. He is the host of You Know Who. That's right, Our American Stories, and my co-executive producer of #Omaha Choirs, only on HBO Sunday nights after last week tonight with John Oliver. And so is former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer. Fleischer explains to this one, I have no clue whatsoever. So here's a little bit. Ari Fleischer says.
Well, frankly, Laura, until I saw it on your show, I had no idea how vulgar it really was. I had seen a lot of the excerpts, things that were said about Kelly, Sarah Huckabee, but I did not know just how bad it was, and it was bad when I heard about it. So look, the real problem here is that the press is killing themselves, and they just don't get it. They're an industry in decline, and they're in decline because half of America, the Republicans and conservative half, doesn't trust them. And evenings like this just make it worse. And the press still doesn't understand how bad last night was. When you hear Juan Williams defend it, when you hear one of the most reasonable liberals defend it, as you pointed out, Laura, pan the crowd, see the laughter. The press doesn't get it.
Now you see, Ari Fleischer is right. You might think it's so smart. Everybody has the last laugh, but this is not funny at all. That's why Michelle Wolf is a stupid, idiotic comedian. And I have no objection whatsoever. And you know what? That's a stupid joke that I ever heard in my entire life. Trashing Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the face. So what comes next on the list of things? You guessed it. Guessed it. I need to know who is to blame. You guessed it. Michelle Wolf.
The double standard here is glaring for anyone who wants.
So this is what happens. The double standard, I have no clue whatsoever. Here's Lee Habib. Respond to this.
You know, what's funny, Laura, is for the last few weeks we've heard the press excoriate the lack of vetting by the White House. They didn't do a proper job with a Veterans Affairs gentleman who was ultimately dismissed, and yet they couldn't vet this comedian. Don't they have YouTube? Don't they have Google? Can't they just watch this woman's performance on The Daily Show? What's fascinating, Laura, and what Juan missed, is that 95% of these jokes were aimed at Republicans. She didn't spread it around. She just targeted mostly women. 6 to 7 minutes straight were vile, repulsive jokes aimed at, and they weren't jokes, they were attacks aimed at women. And these weren't just jokes. It was like a public shaming. And it was just disgraceful. And to listen to the audience laugh, and we wish we could see who was laughing and at what, because these jokes were disgraceful, and the laughs continued, and they continued. And the key here, Laura, is that there was a winner here. There were two winners. One was the comedian, because my goodness, she's going to get a really big deal with HBO. She'll be following Bill Maher in the next 3 months. She was playing to her audience, a liberal set of journalists. And Trump, by the way, was a winner
always
too.
playing
The
with
smartest
fire.
man not in the
You
room.
know.
He was playing to his audience, America.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey Lord.
See, I told you. You know darn well. You playing with fire. Did you? You, Lee Habib is right. You're just doing stupid things like this. And finally, Jeremy Lord from the American Spectator. And here's what everybody says about, here's what Jeffrey Lord says about this one. And and you know what that means. Here's Jeremy's reaction.
Well, that's right, Laura. But first, I have to tell you, I have breaking news that the Federal Elections Commission is starting to investigate the White House Correspondents Association for a multi-million-dollar contribution to the Trump campaign in 2020. You can see these clips that you played. You can see these clips that you played all through the election season. I guarantee.
Let's go through 2018 first, Jeffrey. We're gonna aim toward the midterm.
Right,
but go ahead.
Right. Good point. But you're absolutely right, Laura. And this is the kind of thing. And you should know that I asked the president of the White House Correspondents Association several days ahead of the dinner whether they would specifically be defending conservatives by name. I included you, Sean Hannity, Kevin Williamson, and I got no response. Total, complete silence. This is the serious thing here. Basically, this boils down to free speech for me, but not for thee. And when push comes to shove, they are not there for conservatives, and that is a real serious problem. And
Now you see, Jeffrey Lord is right. This is a start of this whole charade about free speech versus hate speech. And there is no way to do this. Because Jeffrey Lord and Lee Habib and, of course, Ari Fleischer is right. Because as for you, Michelle Wolf, I will trash you down later on tonight on the Blaze Radio Network for my Wordplay Wednesday and see who has the last laugh. It makes me sick to my darn stomach. Alright, finally, as we wrap this up, how many times that the Second Amendment hits with, you guessed it, death threats? So, listen to Laura Ingram's response says to this.
A lawsuit against a new state law banning the sale of guns to anyone under the age of 21. But she's so afraid for her safety that she's asked a federal court to keep her identity secret. Backing that woman in court filings, the NRA are some of the vilest of the threats, and you've experienced them yourself.
You know, I have, Laura. I get death threats almost on a daily basis. I believe most of them are keyboard cowards, and I don't put much stock in it. But it only takes one nut job, and certainly you see what happens to leadership at the NRA, but it's not just leadership there and people I work with. These are conservatives. Anybody that has a loud voice in this nation is being targeted, and I believe they're being targeted because the left has no other message out there. They don't have vision, they don't have policy, so what do? They turn to violence, and they take it to people to silence their voices. Look, Laura, they call us child murderers, they call us terrorists. What are they doing that for? To dehumanize it and then somehow make it okay for supporters to come out and threaten us. I promise you, it is not going to work.
Yeah.
Threats won't work. We're going to keep with the voice and be strong.
You guessed it. Grant Stinchfield, host of Stinchfield on NRA TV. And he's right all along, because everything else can be civilized. But whatever happens to Chris Hahn, stupid liberal radio talk show host, he gets the last narrative. Listen to this. Listen to this mess. This makes me sick to my darn stomach. Listen to this from Chris Hahn. And see, this guy makes me sick to my darn stomach about this one. You know what I'm talking about. Just can be civilized. I cannot believe my eyes and ears. And he think he's so funny. Oh God! Listen to
I
this.
agree 100% that, you know, the First Amendment is important and free speech is important, especially political speech, which we have learned is the highest form of protected speech in this country. Where I disagree with my fellow panelist here is when he says it's the left doing this. People who make these
What do you
kinds
mean
of
you
threats
disagree?
are crazy.
What do you mean you
Whether they are
disagree?
on the right wing crazy or on the left wing crazy. They are not part of any mainstream movement. They're not part of any political party or any real ideology. They are mentally disturbed. And of course,
Mentally
many of them are
disturbed.
keyboard cowards. Look, I get horrible things said to me all the time. We talked about this last week, Laura. But that doesn't stop me from talking. It shouldn't stop Marion Hammer from talking, even though I disagree with much of what she stands for. And it should have stopped her from going to that hearing. I understand that she didn't go to a hearing on a bill because of some of these threats. And I think that might have also had something to do with the fact.
Chris, you don't know what you're playing with, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Grant is right, 100%. But you, Chris Hahn, are wrong. These are NRA members receiving death threats. Because as I said yesterday on my Political Life video blog about the NRA, and what about the liberal media bias pressure people buffoons are so jealous? They don't know what they're thinking. You, Chris Hahn, are wrong. Yes, Grant Stinchfield is right. So there. And why? Because the moral of my Political Life video blog story is this. You, Chris Hahn, had a problem. Pure and simple. Because everything else came civilized about the First Amendment. But what about the Second Amendment? Well, I guess you do. I guess everybody knows. Ask Michelle Wolf, because I'm not done with her. Try to trash Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the face. But guess what? I got news for you. And like I said, I got issues. You're gonna get what you deserve. To trash you on purpose. Later on tonight on the Blaze Radio Network. And see how you like it. If you had the last laugh. Well, I was gonna say, to be or not to be, that is the question. So there. Anyways, that's my Political Life video blog story. And I'm sticking to it completely.